Hey guys, it's Lauren. Welcome back to my channel. This is Books and Tea and all things me, and I'm so glad that you are here today. Today I am doing another Top 5 Wednesday video. For those of you who don't know what Top 5 Wednesday is, it is a Goodreads group that was created by the beautiful Lainey from Ginger Reads Lainey. I will leave the link to her channel and the link to the Goodreads group down below so you can check it out if you want to participate. I really would love to do more of these videos in the coming year, and so I really wanted to do this one today. The theme for today's is the top 5 favorite books of the year, something along those lines, but I wanted to turn this into a more all-inclusive video, so I'm gonna add a little bit of bonus content to mine. I'm going to make it my top 10 books of 2015, and I'm also going to talk about my favorite graphic novel and some disappointing books that I read in 2015. So it's sort of going to be more than just my top 5. Let's get started. Oh, I did want to say too that I'm drinking tea today. I know I haven't been drinking tea very often in my videos lately, and I wanted to bring that back again. So this was in my stocking from my mom for Christmas, and it's a cinnamon vanilla tea, and I haven't actually tried it yet, so let's see. It's really good. This is probably gonna be my favorite for either this month or next month, so I'll tell you all about it then. So I wanna start today with the disappointing books from 2015 because I really wanna save my favorites for last. I think that's the most exciting thing to talk about. So let's just start by talking about the two most disappointing books from 2015 for me. One is a book and one is a graphic novel, and the book was Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. This was a book that I was really excited to read. There had been so much hype on BookTube surrounding it, and the cover, of course, is really gorgeous, and I thought the storyline seemed really interesting, but when I read it, it just fell flat for me, fell short in a lot of ways. There was just so much more I was looking for in this story, and as I've said before, and as everyone else has said, this is just a story that really just puts together a bunch of different stories that we've heard before, and it just really wasn't anything new or creative in my mind. So I still will be reading the new one that comes out this year. I can't remember the name right now. I'll probably pick that one up at some point, but I'm just not looking forward to it like I wanted to. And then the graphic novel that I want to talk about that I was most disappointed with this year was Nimona by Noelle Stevenson. And I know this is going to be a pretty unpopular opinion because a lot of people really love that graphic novel, but I just didn't see why everybody loved it so much. I liked it. I gave it a 3-star review, but I just didn't love it. I just thought Nimona was a little bit crazy, and I don't know, I can't even remember his name, but I really liked the villain in the story that she wants to join up with and help out. I like that we got to see like a soft side to him and see that he really doesn't want to be a villain, and I think I liked that part of the story so much that Nimona just drove me nuts because she wanted to kill everybody and do all these bad things, and so I don't know, that one just didn't live up to the hype for me, and I was kind of disappointed by it. So let's just transition right into my favorite graphic novel of 2015, and this is going to come as no surprise. This was Saga for me. I started this series this year, and I've gotten through the first 3 volumes, and I absolutely love them. I know I gave the second one 5 stars. That was my favorite, and I can't remember what I gave the third one. I just finished it. But either a 4 or 5 star. The first volume was a 4-star for me. This series just overall is amazing. I am so connected with these characters. I'm so in love with them, and I just can't wait to see what happens next. I'm so excited that the baby is growing up and that we're getting to see that, and I just love it so much, you guys. It's so good. If you haven't read it yet, you seriously need to. I know there are some things in it that are really probably just put in for the shock value, and some of it is a little bit disturbing, but overall, I just love it so much. So by far, my favorite graphic novel series of the year. Okay, so let's get into my top 10 favorite books of the year. This was really hard for me to decide because I read a lot of 5-star books, but I also read a lot of really good 4-star books that I still have been thinking about, and so I probably should go back through my list and maybe up a couple of the stars, but I think that this really is a pretty good all-inclusive list of my top 10 favorite books for the year. I just really had a good reading year, especially in these last few months since I started BookTube. So let's just get started. I can't wait to tell you all about them. Coming in at number 10 is The Good Girl by Mary Kubica. This is a book that I've only talked about briefly on my channel because I read it before I started BookTube, and this is a kidnapping story told from 3 different points of view, one including the kidnapper, and I just loved this book. This was really intense, but also really angsty at times and drawn out, and I don't know, just the combination I loved. I loved the characters, I loved the mystery kind of behind everything that was going on and the way it jumped from during the kidnapping to after the kidnapping, and I don't know, it's just so good. I know a lot of people haven't read this because I haven't heard it talked about very much on BookTube, but it was a 5-star for me. Definitely check it out. I really loved it. Number 9 and number 8 sort of go together, so I'm going to talk about them together, and these are 2 books by Maria V. Schneider from the Study series, Poison Study and Magic Study. I read both of these this year and absolutely loved them. This is probably going to be one of my favorite series of all time. I've had Fire Study on my TBR for like the past 2 months and I still haven't read it, so I don't know what's wrong with me because I loved these 2, but I need to finish it. These 2 books are just amazing. The storyline is incredible. I love Valak, who is the main like badass love interest, and Yelena is a really great main character as well. If you haven't read this series, I know it's a little bit of an older one, but it is talked about quite a bit on BookTube, and if you haven't read it, please pick it up because it is so amazing. Coming in at number 7 is Every Last Word by Tamara Ireland Stone, and I've talked about this book a few times on my channel already. I used it in a recent tag, and I had it in my wrap up last month or whenever I read it, but I read this book with Grace from Grace with a Book in Her Face, and it was just a really amazing buddy read experience, but it also was an incredible book. When I started this book, I didn't know if I really liked it so much, but as I went through the rest of the story, I fell in love with the story, and it's about OCD and a character that struggles with OCD, and there's a pretty big plot twist at the end, which I was not expecting, and it's just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. There's so many things I love about this book, and it made me want to read more books about mental illness, so hopefully I'll pick up some more kind of like this book in 2016. Definitely on the top 10. It was so good. Coming in at number 6 is Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo. This is the first book in the Grisha trilogy. I started reading this book with Karen from A Simple Cup of Tea. I will link her channel down below. We're buddy reading the entire series together, and we just started Ruin and Rising yesterday, the 3rd book in the series. Shadow and Bone has been my favorite so far. I don't know what I'm going to think about Ruin and Rising, but Siege and Storm was just a 4-star for me. Overall, I know I'm just going to love this series in the end, but Shadow and Bone was just a wonderful first book. It was so magical. I love the setting with the Russian-inspired culture and world, and I just love the Grisha and the powers. It's not that different from a lot of other fantasy series in terms of the magic system, but it's just really good, and I just really love the characters in this series, especially Mal. I am so rooting for him, and it's just wonderful. Go Leigh Bardugo, can't wait to read 6 of Crows. Number 5 was Walk on Earth a Stranger by Rae Carson. This was another book that I did as part of a buddy read. This one I read with Trina from Between Chapters, and we both really loved this book. This is a fantasy, but it's like a historical fiction fantasy. It follows our main character who has something tragic happen to her at the beginning of the book, and it sets her on this journey to go to California to hopefully reinvent her life where the gold rush is happening, and she disguises herself as a boy to get across the country, and it's just really interesting. I don't know what I liked so much about this book. It's just a wonderful adventure story. The characters are wonderful, and it's just so much different than anything I've read before. I just really loved this, and I hope the 2nd book comes out soon. I have no idea when it's set to release, but I need it like now. Book number 4 was A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness. This book just meant so much to me on so many different levels. If you've heard me talk about this book before, you know that my own mother has cancer, and that is what the main character in this book is dealing with. Just the thoughts of not wanting to lose his mother, but also wanting to let her go so that she can finally be at peace. And luckily, you know, I haven't had to deal with these things because my mother is still alive and doing wonderful, but these are all still sort of feelings that I've had before, and this book is so deep, but so, oh, it's just so lovely. I just can't even put into words how I felt when I was reading this, and the illustrations really top it all off. They were incredible. Coming in at number 3 is the only book that I actually own, and that is Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. I loved this book so much. I read this as another buddy read with Raul from Latin Lector, and we both loved it. It's so funny and heart-wrenching and made me cry, made me laugh. Oh, I loved it so much, you guys. I love Kath, I love Levi. Their relationship is like the bomb. It's just so good, and her dad was hilarious as well. I just laughed so hard at him. So I don't know. Most of you have already read this before. I don't need to tell you how great it is, but yes, so good. Coming in at number 2 is The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. And you guys, I've been saying that I'm gonna do a review for this book in like the past however many videos, but I don't think I'm gonna do it anymore. It's just not fresh enough in my brain anymore, and I didn't have a good time to do it after I returned it to the library. So this will have to suffice. This book is just so incredible. This book is so full of magic, full of fantasy, full of like, this just describes it. You know, it's just like sparkly. Whenever I think about it, I just get all like, oh, I don't know. I'm not making any sense right now. I can't explain how much I love this book. I want to read it again already, and it was kind of a struggle to get through it. I'm not gonna lie, this book took me like 4 days. I was sick when I read it, so that might have been part of it, but it is kind of difficult to get through. The storyline itself is not that great. It's good, but it's not that great. But just the descriptiveness of the circus and the night dinners and the characters just make this book so incredible. I can't even explain how badly I want to go to the night circus. Like, you guys, I want it so bad. When it described all the different tents and the magical stuff that was going on in there, oh, you guys, it's just so good. Yeah, definitely highly recommend this one. I think I want to read this one again this year, but maybe in the audiobook form, because I've heard the audiobook is quite good. So yeah, that might be happening. And finally, coming in at number 1, it should be no surprise to you all that my favorite book of 2015 was The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak. This book, you guys, it just ripped my heart open, stomped on it, put it back in my body, and left me to be in my sad, sorry state of finishing this book and loving it so much, but also being like so heartbroken. I can't even put into words how I feel about this book. The story is so incredible. Liesel is one of my favorite characters of all time. It's just so beautiful, you guys. I don't even know what to say right now. I should have done a book review on this one because it is like the best, and I could just gush about it for forever, but right now the words are just not coming to me, so I'm just gonna leave it at that. It is incredible. Historical fiction set in World War II, told from the point of view of a little German girl. You need to read it if you have not, because it is like life-changing. I'm just not the same after reading it. It has really left a mark on me, so I don't know. I've been telling everybody to read this, people on BookTube and people in my life outside of BookTube, so please, 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 if you have not read it, please do. It is so good. So that is it, you guys. That is my top 10 favorite books from 2015, my top graphic novel from 2015, and the 2 most disappointing books from 2015. I thought this was a nice little wrap up of my reading year. I'm so excited for 2016. If you haven't watched my 2016 bookish goals video yet, definitely check that out, because I share a lot about what I plan to do in this coming year and what I plan to read and what my goals are. So I'd love if you check that out. If you've done a top books of 2015 video, please link it down below. I've already watched quite a few, but I might not have seen yours yet, so I would love to check it out. If you didn't do a video, I would still love to hear what your favorite books of 2015 are, so please comment down below and let me know. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel if you are not already, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye!